know you're familiar with her work, but Randy Forsberg. So she was the champion of the nuclear freeze movement in the Reagan years, which was kind of important for, like, to the extent that the US made breakthroughs with the Soviet Union, like the nuclear freeze idea in the culture and the demands in the streets were like a significant shaping element there, even though Reagan's people were hostile to the idea. But she wrote a thing in like the late 80s or early 90s. And basically, she was arguing that like you couldn't actually achieve nuclear reductions, or like you could not even get on a path to nuclear disarmament until you addressed conventional arms control. And so basically, like getting a grip on militarism itself and the problem of like militarized violence and how we relate to the world. If you're an anti-nuke person, that is the real immediate target. It's like the nuke stuff, you can talk about it till you're blue in the face, but it's like there's not room to change nuclear policy. You change nuclear policy by unsettling non-nuclear policy and like challenging militarism. What do you think about that linkage? Because like I see nobody today making that kind of overt argument.
Yeah, I think it's important to have a really clear understanding of the place that nuclear weapons as a specific issue sit within these larger issues of war, of what we call militarism, of the military-industrial complex, a term that I think has once again become much more popular in recent years for its explanatory power. I think that's really important. And I mean, I currently work with an organization called Diffuse Nuclear War, which is very much rooted in this anti-militarism approach for that reason. I think that, however, where I struggle with this point is that this argument is often made in very intellectual and almost spiritual terms. I don't understand what it looks like to reckon with militarism as a thing, right? Like for the United States, for the world, for any country or even any person, right? So I think from the perspective of, what does it take to organize people around this issue? What does it take to just have a conversation with someone about this issue? Like, you do need to understand nuclear weapons as part of a broader system where the kind of constant threat of overwhelming force is not only normalized, but seen as like essential, right? And fundamental to the way the world works. And on that conversational kind of person-to-person level, I think shifting that is important, and thinking of that as like a basis for how you approach the issue is important. At any other level, I guess I struggle a little bit to understand how to do that. With that in mind, it's equally important to talk about nuclear weapons as like an economic issue, right? As a social issue in all the different ways that they are. And I think the argument you hear people making today about that reintegration of nuclear weapons from again, inside most of these younger voices within the nuclear field is a version of that, right? Where we do need to kind of have this issue sit easily in our overall picture of the world, right? We have to have an understanding of how the world works in order to understand this one narrow issue.